week for my simulation, I decided to do something that I just thought would be interesting to do. I mean, it's not really a real life thing, and I didn't want to do like M&Ms out of a bag or like I thought about doing those bath bombs that have the rings in the middle of them. I don't know. So I'm in the middle of my grad school applications, and I was thinking, like, okay, so say a grad school has like a certain amount of spots open, and they have a ton of students that have the exact same qualifications. Like, how else would they decide who gets in other than this? I mean, it's totally an unrealistic situation, but I thought it'd be interesting and a little bit more of a different way to look at this versus like the usual things that people do. So, anyhow, so for this grad school that I'm looking at, there are three options for an application, and one of it is that it won't get accepted. One is that they will get accepted into the regular program, aka the in-class program, and one is that they will get accepted into the hybrid program. So for 10 samples, they would have a 40% chance of not being accepted at all, a 40% chance of being accepted into the regular program, and only a 20% chance of being accepted into the hybrid program. So to represent that, I just put numbers by each one of these and then I color coded them, which you'll see why I did that in just a second. So if we go over here to my simulation, wasn't going there for a second. All I did, I'll show you down here the formula I did first, which was just equals random between, and then 1 comma 10, because those were the numbers I used, enter, and then I just click this, and to copy it, you just drag it out here. So I decided that 15 was going to be enough usually to get me where I needed to be. Go figure the one time that it's not. Let's just try it again. Okay. Well, we'll look at 9 samples then. But that was the formula that I used, and that just copies it over here. So I could like keep dragging this down if I wanted to, but for the sake of this, I just wanted that one. And if you'll see as you copy it down, the numbers change. So in order to stop that, all we have to do is we click Command C if you have a Mac, otherwise just copy. And then click this first box and then drag down the paste menu to paste values. And that's just to stop them from changing, like you saw when I dragged that down to copy it, that the values changed on me. Okay, so then what I was interested in was seeing how many applications I had to go through in this sort of like random choosing in order to get one accepted into, well, not accepted into, but one that fell into each category. So one that fell into being not accepted into the regular program and into the hybrid program. So I had color coded those on the other page so that it would be easier to look at on the screen and verify which amount of applications it took in order to get one from each category. So if we look right here, we see that we have 9, which I already know, but if you go back to this, you can see that 9 and 10 is the hybrid, which is blue. 5 through 8 is the regular in-class, which is yellow, and then 1 through 4 is not accepted, which is red. So I'm just going to color code that blue. You can also click another cell, which I'll show you in just a second. So this is just like this one. So I'm going to format and then just paste. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. So I'm just going to click undo. So I'm going to format copy and then just click this cell. Okay. And then I know that 1 is also not being accepted, which is red. So I'm going to format copy this cell onto this one. So it's just going to make it the same color. So now there was that way of doing the equations, which is really complicated when you have variability in your chances of getting each one of these like I do. So I just went ahead and did this a simple way, and I'm only doing 10 simulations because doing much more than that would take hours upon hours, I feel like. So for this one, it was 3. And all I did here was I just looked at the furthest one out. So it was 14, 12, and you can just see where I'm getting these numbers up here. So this was student number 14, which means it took 14 applications. so on and so forth. So now I'm just going to go over here and I'm going to start from that 3 and work my way all the way up to, I'm just going to go from the next numbers, because when I make this graph you'll see that it'll change for us. So I have 6 next, and then I had 10, and then I had 12, and then I had 14. And then we're just going to go over here and I'm going to do equals count IF, and then I'm just going to put all of these, and then I want a 3. So then I'm going to hit enter, and there's only one 3. So then you can just hit count IF again, highlight the same range, and then this time we want a 4. And then you can literally just copy these down, except for we'll go in here and we'll change this one to a 6. And we'll change this one to a 10. And we'll change this one to 12. And then we'll change this one to 14. Well, I'm going to manually change these. I don't feel like fighting with it right now. Okay, so now we have all the frequencies for the number of applications. So I want to know how many times it took me 3 applications in order to get one from each category, which is only 1 time. 4 applications to get 1 from each category, which was actually the most frequent. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this data, because I'd really like to see a graph out of this. So I am going to choose this one and just go in here so that we can look at this and see that clearly it is skewed to the right. It would almost be uniform if we didn't have this huge mode right here for 4. So this is just frequency for number of applications to get 1 of each category. And then we can go to add chart element, add axis title, and this is just number of applications and this is the frequency. Okay, so the only other thing that I would change is I'd go in there next time and I would add in my all the numbers. So right here where we did the number of applications, I would start from 0 and number myself all the way to 14, because that was the highest number that I had, so that we would still have some 0 frequencies, because obviously right now it just shows the number of applications that it took that we actually had. So this would look a little bit different, and I would want to remove these spaces. So let me do that real quick. And obviously if we had those zeros in there, this would look a little bit different, but you would still obviously be able to see that it was skewed to the right. Okay guys, so that is my simulation. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much. Thanks for watching.